Hello, I'm Christina, and I'm going to be speaking today on Deborah Sampson, a soldier in the United States Revolutionary Army. Deborah Sampson was born in 1751 in New England, and from 5 to 18 years old was a servant, which was basically indentured. During this time, she taught herself how to read and write, was presumably reading all the political texts prevalent in the colonies at the time. She was also probably physically strong from doing farm work, which is what a servant would have been mostly doing at the time. In 1782, at the age of 21, she disguised herself as a man and tried to join the Continental Army. She failed in April in her hometown, probably from being recognized, and then in May moved to another town and successfully enlisted there. She was assigned to an elite force in Westchester County, north of New York City, which was British occupied at the time. This was a dangerous position and we know this for sure because she and her unit came under enemy fire multiple times and was definitely wounded a few times, possibly removing bullets from herself by herself for fear of being found out. Early in 1783, she became a general's manservant and moved with their group to Philadelphia. In Philadelphia, July or August of that year, she got sick and was found out by the company doctor. Her superior officers, interestingly, conspired with her to help her cover up her secrets, and she was honorably discharged a few months later in the fall. When she went back home to New England, she married a farmer named Benjamin Gannet, and they eventually had 3 children together. By 1792, about 10 years later, she petitioned the state of Massachusetts and then the United States government for a soldier's pension and actually won her case. The most famous and pretty much only real source of her life is Herman Mann's 1797 book on her life. This was semi-biographical, but mostly apocryphal, as it was intended mostly as a morality tale designed to teach and inspire both young men and women of the new American Republic to Republican virtue and sacrifice and just the idea of womanly virtue, which was really taking root during these early years. She actually did not want the story to get out for fear of local embarrassment, so she was pretty reluctant to tell personal details to Mr. Mann. But then in 1802 through 1803, she went on a speaking tour of the colonies, or the new states rather, to gain money for her family, which was not in dire financial straits, but was not very well off. They actually were part of an emerging class of middle-class people who were not based on property, but on just consumer goods and what they could afford for their families. She actually died in 1827 with her family and on their farm, but having lived a comfortable and fascinating life. She is important to remember because she is an example of an exemplary woman from the American Revolution. She also gives insights into society and social norms of the time. For instance, the officers covered up her secret, which is something you don't ever really hear about, presumably because they respected her more as a soldier, enough to overlook the fact that she was not a man. But then who knows how many other women got away with it the same way she did, that just did not go on public speaking tours, did not have books written about their lives. We'll probably never know this. And then the fact that she received a soldier's pension from the government, who acknowledged that she had done a soldier's work. You never ever hear about that situation for women, especially in 17th, 18th, 19th centuries. Then also the historiographical record of her life is interesting, because for about 200 years, everybody just took Mr. Mann's book at face value and just dismissed her as a morality tale. And it's only recently that people have started actually digging into other evidence about her life, finding out that she was a really fascinating woman who did her job as a patriot and was acknowledged for it during her lifetime, which is really interesting. And there are definitely lessons to be learned from this exciting, morally upright, for sure, and Republican woman of the American Revolution and early American Republic.